Welcome to Coins News Daily. What if that ordinary-looking quarter in your pocket is secretly worth thousands of dollars? Don't spend it. You might be holding a hidden treasure. Don't miss your chance to get rich from pocket change. Stay till the end. Your next coin could change your life. Subscribe, like, share, and comment. Thanks with love for watching. Top 1. Today we are diving into a coin that looks ordinary at first glance but hides a story that collectors dream about. Imagine holding a simple quarter in your hand, dated 1966, no mint mark, something you might have seen 100 times before. Most people would spend it without a second thought. But what if I told you that some of these coins have shocked collectors, sparked bidding wars, and turned loose change into serious money? Stay with me, because this is not just about a coin. This is about history, mystery, and the thrill of discovery that keeps collectors searching every single day. The 1966 Washington quarter comes from a fascinating period in United States coinage. In the mid-1960s, silver was disappearing from circulating coins. Rising silver prices forced the government to change the composition of quarters. Before 1965, quarters were made with 90% silver. But by 1966, the coin you're looking at was struck using a copper-nickel-clad composition. That alone makes it part of a major turning point in coin history. Now here's where it gets interesting. You might notice something missing on a 1966 quarter. There is no mint mark. That's not an error. That's intentional. From 1965 to 1967, the United States Mint removed mint marks from coins to discourage hoarding. People were saving coins based on where they were made, so the mint decided to eliminate that detail for a few years. So every 1966 quarter you find will have no mint mark, and that alone does not make it rare. But don't click away yet, because rarity in this coin comes from something much deeper. The real excitement starts when we talk about condition. Most 1966 quarters were heavily circulated. They passed through millions of hands, used in everyday transactions, worn down over time. Finding one in pristine condition today is extremely difficult. Collectors look for coins with sharp details, strong luster, and minimal marks. These are graded by professionals, and the higher the grade, the more valuable the coin becomes. A top condition 1966 quarter, especially one graded at the highest mint state levels, can be surprisingly valuable. These coins are rare not because they were not made, but because so few survived in near perfect condition. Now let's go deeper into what really excites collectors. Errors. Error coins are where ordinary turns extraordinary. During the minting process, small mistakes can happen. Most are caught and destroyed, but a few escape into circulation. Those few become treasures. One of the most talked about possibilities with 1966 quarters is the transitional error. Remember how silver quarters ended in 1964? Occasionally, a leftover silver planchet from 1964 could have been used accidentally in 1965 or 1966. If a 1966 quarter was struck on a silver planchet, that would be an incredible rarity. These coins look slightly different in color and weight, and they can command massive attention in the collector market. Another type of error to watch for is the double die. This happens when the design is struck twice slightly off alignment, creating a doubling effect on the lettering or the date. It can be subtle or dramatic, but when visible, it adds serious interest and value. Off-center strikes are also exciting. Imagine a coin where the design is not properly aligned, leaving part of the coin blank. These coins are instantly recognizable and highly collectible. Clipped planchets are another fascinating error. This happens when the metal blank is improperly cut, leaving a curved or straight missing section on the coin. It gives the coin a unique shape that stands out immediately. Then there are strike-through errors, where foreign material gets between the die and the coin during minting, leaving unusual marks or patterns on the surface. Each of these errors tells a story of what went wrong in the minting process, and that story is exactly what collectors love. Now picture this. You are going through a jar of old coins at home. You find a 1966 quarter. At first glance, it looks normal. But then you notice something unusual. Maybe the strike looks different, maybe the edge feels off, maybe the shine is unlike anything you've seen. That moment of curiosity could lead to a discovery worth far more than 25 cents. This is why collectors always say never ignore your change. The 1966 Washington quarter also carries historical significance beyond its composition and errors. It represents a time when the United States was adapting to economic pressure, changing materials, and redefining its coinage system. Holding one is like holding a small piece of that transformation. For new collectors, this coin is a great starting point. It's easy to find in circulated condition, affordable, and full of learning opportunities. For experienced collectors, it's a challenge to find high-grade examples or rare errors. If you're serious about searching for valuable coins, here are a few tips. Always check the date carefully. Examine the coin under good lighting. Look at the edges, the lettering, and the overall strike. Compare it with known examples. And if you think you found something special, consider getting it professionally graded. Remember, condition and uniqueness are everything in the world of coin collecting. Now let's talk about what everyone is waiting for, the value. Most 1966 Washington quarters in circulated condition are worth only their face value. But in uncirculated high-grade condition, they can sell for tens to hundreds of dollars depending on quality. Exceptional top-grade examples have reached auction levels of several $1,000s, and if you ever discover a rare error such as a silver planchet or a major minting mistake, the value can rise dramatically into tens of thousands of dollars in the right market and auction setting. So next time you see a 1966 quarter, don't ignore it. Take a closer look. Because hidden in plain sight could be a coin that turns an ordinary day into an unforgettable discovery. Top 2. We are diving into a coin that most people have seen, many have spent without a second thought, yet a few rare examples have quietly turned into hidden treasures worth far more than their face value. This is the fascinating story of the 1967 Washington quarter dollar with no mint mark, a coin that might be sitting in a drawer, a jar, or even in your pocket right now, waiting to be discovered. Imagine holding a simple quarter in your hand. At first glance, it looks ordinary. The familiar portrait of George Washington on the front, the eagle on the back, nothing unusual. But what if I told you that some of these coins are worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars, depending on tiny details that most people overlook? That is exactly what makes this coin so exciting for collectors and treasure hunters. Let's go back in time to understand why the 1967 quarter is so unique. During the mid-1960s, the United States was facing a major coin shortage. People were hoarding silver coins because their metal value was rising. To combat this, the U.S. Mint made a drastic decision. From 1965 to 1967, they removed mint marks from coins entirely. This was done to discourage collectors from hoarding coins based on where they were made. So every 1967 Washington quarter you see officially has no mint mark. That means you will not find the usual letters like D or S on these coins. But here is where things start to get interesting. While all of them lack mint marks, not all of them are equal. Some are extremely rare because of errors, condition, or special characteristics that make collectors willing to pay a premium. Now let's talk about what makes a 1967 quarter truly valuable. First, condition is everything. Coins that were never used in circulation, known as uncirculated coins, are far more valuable than those that show wear. If a coin still has its original mint luster, sharp details, and no scratches, it can already be worth much more than face value, but the real excitement comes from error coins. These are coins that were struck with mistakes during the minting process. And in 1967, due to the high production pressure during the coin shortage, errors became more common than usual. One of the most sought-after errors is the double die. This happens when the coin design is stamped twice slightly off alignment, creating a noticeable doubling effect on letters or numbers. On a 1967 quarter, you might see doubling in the word Liberty, the date, or the phrase In God We Trust. These coins are rare and highly desirable. Another fascinating error is the off-center strike. This occurs when the coin blank is not properly aligned during striking, resulting in a design that is partially missing or shifted. The more dramatic the off-center error, the more valuable the coin becomes, especially if the date is still visible. Then there are clipped planchets, where a portion of the coin is missing due to a mistake in the metal cutting process. These coins have a distinctive curved or straight missing edge and are very popular among collectors. You should also watch for coins struck on the wrong planchet. This is when a quarter is accidentally struck on a blank meant for another denomination. These errors are extremely rare and can be worth a significant amount of money. Now let's not forget about the special finish coins from 1967. Instead of traditional proof coins, the U.S. Mint produced special mint set coins during these years. These coins have a unique satin-like finish, sharper details, and a more polished appearance compared to regular circulation coins. If you find a 1967 quarter with an unusually clean and sharp look, it could be from one of these sets, making it more valuable. Collectors also pay close attention to strike quality. Some 1967 quarters were weakly struck due to worn dies, while others show exceptional detail, especially in Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers. Strongly struck coins are always more desirable. Another detail that can increase value is toning. Over time, coins can develop natural color patterns due to oxidation. Beautiful rainbow toning or unique color variations can make a coin stand out and attract higher bids from collectors. Now imagine this scenario. Someone finds an old jar of coins at home, starts going through it, and notices a 1967 quarter that looks slightly different. Maybe the lettering appears doubled, or the coin has an unusual shine. That moment of curiosity can lead to a discovery worth far more than 25 cents. This is why coin collecting is so exciting. It is not just about money, it is about the thrill of the hunt, the history behind each piece, and the possibility that something ordinary could turn out to be extraordinary. If you are serious about checking your coins, here are a few tips. Use a magnifying glass or a coin loupe to examine details closely. Look at the date, the lettering, and the edges. Compare your coin with known examples online. And most importantly, handle your coins carefully to avoid damaging them. You might be wondering, how much is a 1967 Washington quarter actually worth today? The answer depends entirely on the coin's condition and whether it has any rare features. A regular circulated 1967 quarter is typically worth its face value. But an uncirculated example in excellent condition can be worth around $5 to $15. A special mint set 1967 quarter with a high-grade finish can range from $20 to $50 or more, depending on quality. Error coins, however, can reach much higher values. A double die or off-center strike can sell for $100 to several $100, depending on the severity and visibility of the error. In rare cases, high-grade error coins or exceptional specimens have been sold at auction for over $1,000. So the next time you come across a 1967 Washington quarter, do not ignore it. Take a closer look. That small piece of metal could hold a story, a mystery, and possibly a surprising value. Coin collecting is not just a hobby, it is a journey into history and discovery. And sometimes, the most valuable treasures are the ones hiding in plain sight. Top 3. We are diving into something that might completely change the way you look at the coin sitting quietly in your pocket or hidden away in an old drawer. Imagine holding a simple quarter, something most people wouldn't even think twice about, and discovering it could be worth thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars. Sounds unbelievable, right? But for coin collectors and treasure hunters, this is not a fantasy. This is reality. Now let's talk about one of the most talked about and misunderstood coins among collectors, the Washington quarter dollar with no mint mark, often rumored and discussed with the mysterious 1772 reference. Right away, let's clear something up in a very interesting way. The United States Washington quarter was never officially minted in the year 1772. That's where the mystery begins, and that's exactly why collectors get so excited when they hear about such coins. The Washington quarter design itself was first introduced in 1932 to celebrate the 200th birthday of George Washington. Since then, billions of these coins have been produced. Most are common. Most are worth only face value. But a tiny fraction, a very tiny fraction, have unique characteristics that turn them into hidden treasures. So what makes a Washington quarter without a mint mark so special? First, you need to understand mint marks. Coins produced in the United States usually carry a small letter indicating where they were minted. For example, D stands for Denver, S stands for San Francisco. But coins minted in Philadelphia historically did not carry a mint mark for many years. That means a no mint mark coin is not automatically rare. In fact, many are completely normal, but here is where things get exciting. Certain no mint mark Washington quarters become extremely valuable due to errors, low mintage years, or unusual production flaws. These are the coins collectors dream about. Let's talk about errors, because this is where the real money is. One of the most famous and valuable types of errors is the double die error. This happens when the coin is struck more than once by the die, but slightly misaligned. The result is a visible doubling effect on the lettering or the image. If you ever notice something like Liberty or I in God We Trust looking slightly duplicated or shadowed, you might be holding something very special. Another highly valuable error is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin is not properly aligned during minting, causing part of the design to be missing while the rest is shifted. The more dramatic the error, the more valuable the coin can be. Then there are clipped planchets. This is when a portion of the coin is literally missing due to a cutting error during production. These coins look unusual, almost like a bite has been taken out of them. Again, the more visible and unique the error, the higher the value. Now let's go deeper into rarity. Some Washington quarters without mint marks are valuable because of the year they were produced. For example, early years like 1932, 1934, and 1937 can carry significant value, especially in high-grade condition. A coin that has been well preserved, with sharp details and minimal wear, can be worth far more than a circulated one. Condition plays a massive role. Collectors use grading systems to determine how well a coin has been preserved. A coin in mint state condition, meaning it looks almost as perfect as the day it was made, can be worth many times more than the same coin in average condition. Now imagine combining all these factors: no mint mark, a rare year, and a noticeable minting error. That's when you enter the world of serious money. But what about the mysterious 1772 reference? This is often misunderstood or misrepresented. In some cases, it may refer to misread dates, altered coins, or even novelty pieces. However, in rare situations, collectors have reported coins with unusual markings or errors that make the date appear distorted or incorrect. These kinds of anomalies can spark huge interest in the collector community, and this is where the excitement truly begins, because coin collecting is not just about metal. It's about history, mystery, and discovery. Every coin tells a story. Some stories are ordinary. But some are extraordinary. Imagine going through an old jar of coins inherited from a grandparent. You pick up a quarter. It looks normal at first glance. But then you notice something slightly off. The date looks unusual. There's no mint mark. The lettering seems doubled. Your heart starts to race. Could this be one of those rare coins? This is exactly the thrill that keeps collectors searching day and night. Now let's talk about real market value and auction prices. Common Washington quarters without mint marks are usually worth face value, just 25 cents. But rare examples with significant errors or in exceptional condition have been sold for impressive amounts. Some high-grade Washington quarters without mint marks have reached values of several $100s. Coins with strong double die errors or major off-center strikes have been known to sell for thousands of dollars. In rare auction cases, exceptional error coins or extremely high-grade early Washington quarters have reached values in the range of $10,000 and beyond, and in the most extraordinary situations, where rarity, condition, and error combine perfectly, collectors have paid amounts exceeding $20,000 for a single quarter. Yes, a single quarter, that is the power of rarity. So next time you come across a Washington quarter with no mint mark, don't ignore it. Take a closer look. Examine the details. Look for errors. Check the condition. Because you never know, that ordinary-looking coin might be hiding an extraordinary value, and for collectors, that possibility is what makes this journey so addictive, so exciting, and so rewarding. Keep searching, keep learning, and most importantly, never underestimate the coins you already have. Top 4. We are diving into one of the most fascinating and often overlooked coins in American history, a coin that might be sitting quietly in someone's pocket, coin jar, or old collection right now without them even realizing its true potential. The United States Washington quarter dollar from 1973 with no mint mark is a coin that has captured the attention of collectors, treasure hunters, and everyday people who dream of finding hidden value in ordinary places. Now imagine this for a moment. You are sorting through a handful of old coins, maybe coins passed down from family or just loose change collected over the years. Among them, you spot a 1973 quarter. At first glance, it looks completely normal. Worn edges, familiar design, nothing unusual. But what if that very coin could be worth far more than its face value? What if small details, almost invisible to the naked eye, could turn that ordinary coin into something truly valuable? This is exactly why the 1973 Washington quarter with no mint mark has become such an exciting topic in the coin collecting world. Let's first understand what no mint mark actually means. In the United States, coins are produced at different mint facilities, and each mint typically places a small letter on the coin to identify where it was made. For example, D stands for Denver, and S stands for San Francisco. However, coins produced in Philadelphia during that time often carried no mint mark at all. So when we say 1973 quarter with no mint mark, we are referring to coins minted in Philadelphia. Now here is where things start to get interesting. While millions of these coins were produced, not all of them are equal in value. In fact, most 1973 quarters are still only worth face value today. But certain factors can dramatically increase their worth, turning them into prized collectibles. Condition is one of the most important factors. A coin that has never been circulated, meaning it has not been used in everyday transactions, can be significantly more valuable. These coins are often referred to as mint state coins. They retain their original shine, sharp details, and lack of wear. Collectors are always searching for coins in the highest possible grades because they are much harder to find, but condition alone is not the only thing that matters. Errors and unique characteristics can make a coin exceptionally rare and desirable. For the 1973 Washington quarter, collectors pay close attention to minting errors such as double die errors, off-center strikes, and die cracks. A double die error occurs when the coin is struck more than once with slight misalignment, causing parts of the design or lettering to appear doubled. This can sometimes be seen in the words on the coin or even in the date itself. These errors are highly sought after because they are not supposed to happen, making them rare by nature. Another fascinating error is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin blank is not properly aligned during the minting process, resulting in a design that is partially missing or shifted to one side. The more dramatic the misalignment, the more valuable the coin can become, especially if the date is still visible. Die cracks and other imperfections can also add to the uniqueness of a coin. These occur when the minting dies begin to wear out or crack, leaving raised lines or unusual patterns on the coin's surface. While these might seem like flaws, collectors often view them as signatures of rarity. Now let's talk about why collectors are so passionate about coins like the 1973 quarter. It is not just about the money. It is about the thrill of discovery, the history behind each coin, and the idea that something small and ordinary can hold incredible value. Every coin tells a story, and sometimes that story includes mistakes, variations, and rare features that make it one of a kind. The 1973 Washington quarter also carries historical significance. It represents a time in American history when coin production was evolving, and the use of copper-nickel-clad composition had already replaced silver in most circulating coins. This makes it part of a transitional era that many collectors find particularly interesting. As you continue your search for valuable coins, it is important to pay attention to details. Look closely at the date, the lettering, the edges, and the overall condition. Use a magnifying glass if needed, because some of the most valuable features are not immediately visible. And remember, even a small difference can mean a big change in value. Another important tip for collectors is proper storage. Keeping your coins in a safe, dry environment can help preserve their condition and maintain their value. Avoid touching the surface of the coin with bare hands, as oils and dirt can cause damage over time. Now imagine finding one of these rare variations in your own collection. The excitement, the curiosity, the possibility of uncovering something truly special. This is what makes coin collecting such a rewarding hobby. The 1973 Washington quarter with no mint mark may seem common at first, but as we have seen, certain examples can be incredibly valuable. It all comes down to condition, rarity, and those fascinating minting errors that transform an ordinary coin into a collector's treasure. So next time you come across a 1973 quarter, do not ignore it. Take a closer look. Examine every detail. Because hidden within that small piece of metal could be a story, a rarity, and a value far greater than you ever expected. In today's market, a regular circulated 1973 no mint mark quarter is typically worth only its face value of 25 cents. However, in uncirculated condition, it can be worth around $5 to $15. High-grade examples in near-perfect condition have sold for over $100. Rare error coins, depending on the type and visibility of the error, have reached values ranging from several $100s to over $1,000 at auction. Top 5. From the very moment you hold a coin in your hand, you are holding a piece of history, a silent witness to time, economy, and human ambition. But what if I told you that one ordinary-looking coin from 1974 could be worth far more than its face value, maybe even life-changing money? Today, we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating coins in American numismatics, the 1974 Washington quarter with no mint mark. And trust me, you'll want to stay until the very end, because the real value and auction prices might surprise you. Let's begin by setting the scene. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to honor George Washington, the first president of the United States. By 1974, this coin had already been in circulation for decades, used daily by millions of Americans. It was never meant to be rare. It was never meant to be special. But sometimes, history has other plans. The 1974 quarter without a mint mark was produced in Philadelphia. At that time, Philadelphia coins typically did not carry a mint mark, which makes this detail seem completely normal. So why are collectors so obsessed with this coin? The answer lies not in what is visible at first glance, but in the hidden details, the subtle errors, and the rare conditions that transform an ordinary coin into an extraordinary treasure. Let's talk about rarity. Most 1974 quarters are extremely common. Millions were minted and circulated widely. You've probably handled several of them without even noticing. But within this massive production, a small number of coins were struck under unusual conditions, and those are the ones collectors hunt for. One of the most important factors is condition. Coins are graded on a scale, and the higher the grade, the more valuable the coin. A 1974 quarter that has been heavily circulated, scratched, or worn down is typically only worth its face value. But if you find one in near-perfect condition, what collectors call mint state, its value can increase dramatically. Now here's where it gets interesting. Some 1974 no mint mark quarters were struck with exceptional sharpness and detail. These coins may feature strong luster, clean surfaces, and crisp design elements. Collectors look closely at Washington's hair, the eagle on the reverse, and even the smallest lines and textures. The better the detail, the higher the desirability, but condition alone is not enough to create extreme value. The real magic happens when errors come into play. Mint errors are like accidents in the coin-making process, and they can turn an ordinary coin into something incredibly rare. In the case of the 1974 quarter, several types of errors have been discovered. One of the most sought-after errors is the double die. This occurs when the coin's design is stamped more than once in slightly different positions, creating a doubling effect. If you look closely at the lettering or numbers, you might see a shadow-like duplication. This is not damage, it's a minting mistake, and collectors love it. Another fascinating error is off-center strikes. Imagine a coin where the design is not perfectly aligned, leaving part of the coin blank. The more dramatic the off-center strike, the more valuable the coin can become. There are also clipped planchets, where a portion of the coin is missing due to a cutting error during production. These coins have a unique shape and are instantly recognizable. And then there are strike-through errors, where foreign material interfered with the minting process, leaving unusual patterns or marks on the coin's surface. Each of these errors tells a story. Each one represents a moment when the minting process didn't go as planned, and that's exactly what makes these coins so special. Now let's talk about something that excites collectors even more: hidden gems. Sometimes, a coin appears completely normal at first glance. But under magnification, you might discover subtle details that set it apart. A slight doubling, an unusual texture, or an exceptionally sharp strike could mean you're holding something far more valuable than you think. This is why experienced collectors always examine their coins carefully. They use magnifying tools, proper lighting, and a deep understanding of what to look for. Because in the world of coin collecting, the smallest detail can make the biggest difference. Another important factor is preservation. Coins that have been stored properly, away from moisture, heat, and physical damage, have a much higher chance of retaining their original beauty. Original luster, often described as a cartwheel effect under light, is a key indicator of a coin that has not been circulated much. If you happen to find a 1974 quarter that looks almost brand new, with no visible wear and strong eye appeal, you might want to take a closer look. Now imagine this scenario: you're going through your spare change, maybe checking old jars or inherited collections. You come across a 1974 quarter. At first, it seems ordinary. But then you notice something slightly unusual. Maybe the letters look doubled. Maybe the strike seems sharper than usual. Maybe the coin just feels different. That moment, that curiosity, is what drives collectors, because sometimes, that ordinary coin turns out to be something extraordinary, and this is why people around the world are still searching for rare quarters today. Not just for their monetary value, but for the thrill of discovery, the connection to history, and the possibility of finding something truly unique. Now, let's talk about real value. A typical 1974 no-mint mark Washington quarter in circulated condition is usually worth its face value, 25 cents. However, in uncirculated condition, especially those graded at higher mint state levels, these coins can sell for around $10 to $50 depending on quality. But when we move into the world of high-grade coins and error varieties, the numbers change dramatically. A high-grade mint state example with exceptional quality can reach values of several $100s. If the coin features a notable mint error such as doubling or an off-center strike, the value can rise to several hundred to several $1,000s depending on the rarity and visibility of the error. And in rare cases, especially for top-condition coins with strong collector demand, auction prices have reached into the range of several $1,000s. So the next time you see a 1974 quarter with no mint mark, don't ignore it. Take a closer look. Examine the details. Because hidden within that small piece of metal could be a story, a rarity, and possibly a valuable treasure waiting to be discovered. And that is the true beauty of coin collecting, the idea that something so small and ordinary can hold such incredible value. Keep searching, keep learning, and who knows, your next coin could be the one everyone is looking for.